So far in our story, we've learned that Timothy Trueheart had to miss his Sunday school class hiking trip up to Mountainside Park. He had really looked forward to this trip, but his parents were punishing him for leaving his bike in the driveway by grounding him for a week. Timothy really was upset about this and thought his parents were very, very mean. And he wasn't even sure they really loved him since they made him miss the trip. He kind of pouted around for a week. Things got a little better, though, when his birthday came. Birthdays are always a time to be happy. Timothy was excited because his grandparents came, and they gave him a really nice new basketball hoop and a new basketball. And they put it up on the garage so that he could play. But he was even more excited when he found out that his parents had decided to let him have a puppy. He named the puppy Coco and was so happy about it. He'd always wanted a dog of his own. His dad had told him, "Now, Timothy, it's your responsibility to teach this dog right and wrong. It's your job to make sure that he does his jobs outside and doesn't do anything damaging in the house." Timothy took this very seriously. However, Timothy really loved Coco and said, "You know what? I am not going to ever punish Coco. I don't want Coco to think I don't love him. So when he does something wrong, I'm just going to tell him that he did something wrong. Then he will listen to me, and he'll do what I told him to do." It's a good way of teaching. It's the way I wish my parents taught me. I don't want to be disciplined, and so I'm not going to discipline Coco. Timothy thought this was going to be a really good idea. When it got to be bedtime, Timothy had taken Coco up to his room and brought the extra laundry basket up for him to sleep in. But when he put him in there, Coco wasn't happy. He cried and he whined, and Timothy thought, "Oh, you poor little guy, you must be cold and lonely down there." Timothy thought, this'll be okay. So he reached down and he picked Coco up and put Coco in bed with him. But in the morning, when Timothy's mom came in, she said, "Timothy Trueheart, you are not to have a dog sleep in the bed with you. He has his own bed right there in the basket, and it's very important that you teach him to sleep in his own bed. We don't want to spoil him after all." Timothy said, "Yes, Mom," but he wasn't really happy about it. The next night, though, Timothy put Coco in his basket. He says, "Coco, you have to sleep down there." But Coco was still not happy about that. He cried and he whined, and Timothy thought, "What am I going to do? If I let Coco sleep with me, my mom is going to be mad, and my parents might punish me again because I didn't obey her when she told me I couldn't have Coco in my bed. But if I make Coco stay in the basket, Coco's going to think I don't love him. He's already crying, so I know he's not happy. What am I going to do?" Timothy laid there wondering what was the best plan of action when his bedroom door opened, and in came his mom. His mom said, "I heard Coco crying in my room." "I'm sorry," said Timothy. "He wants to sleep with me." "I know," said his mom. "Your dad and I had a talk. Now, I wasn't happy about the dog sleeping on your bed, but your dad said when he had a dog as a boy, the dog always slept with him. So we talked about it and decided it's up to you. If you want Coco to sleep in your bed with you, that would be all right. However, You are going to be responsible for washing the sheets and the blankets if he has an accident in your bed. Oh, don't worry, Mom, he won't. I've already told him that that's not acceptable. Timothy's mom said, well, okay. You can do what you think is best. It's your job to train the dog. Over the next few weeks, Coco began to grow. He got bigger and bigger every day. But at the same time, Coco also got to be a little more mischievous every day. Timothy's mom said Coco was going to have to stay in the laundry room when Timothy wasn't home because she didn't have time to watch him all day long. He chewed up one of her good new slippers, which didn't make her happy, and he kept digging holes in the yard and having accidents on the floor. Timothy said, but if I put Coco in the laundry room, he won't be happy. Timothy's mom says, he's not going to be happy anyway because you're not home, so you're going to put him in the laundry room. Timothy put him in the laundry room as they headed out for church, wondering, ooh, is he going to be mad at me when I get home? But when they got home and he opened the laundry room door, Coco came out wagging his tail and seemed so happy to see him. Timothy relaxed. Okay, he said, I can keep Coco in there when I'm not home. But even when Timothy was home, Coco was still having messes on the floor in the house. Coco was just not listening to Timothy. Timothy kept telling him, no, you have to do that outside, and he would take him outside. But Coco just wasn't understanding what it was Timothy was trying to tell him. He also was digging holes in the yard, which made his dad unhappy. Timothy kept filling them back in and telling Coco, no, bad boy. But for some reason, Coco wasn't listening about that either. Timothy was trying to teach Coco some tricks. He wanted him to learn to catch a frisbee. He would throw the frisbee and Coco would catch it, but when Timothy would say, come here, Coco, Coco would go the opposite direction and run away from him. Timothy says, come, Coco, and Coco would run away. It was like a game to Coco, but Timothy thought, what am I going to do? He just isn't listening to me. Coco, come here. Coco seemed to think come meant run, because he sure wasn't listening to Timothy. The next day, when Timothy's dad got home from work, he asked Timothy how training Coco was going. Timothy says, well, he's still just a puppy. It's going to take a while for him to learn, but I keep telling him what he should be doing. Timothy's dad said, let's go in the living room. So Timothy and his dad went in the living room and sat down on the couch. Timothy's dad reached over and grabbed his Bible. He opened it up to Proverbs 29:17 and read, discipline your children, and they will give you peace of mind and will make your heart glad. Timothy, puppies and children are alike in a lot of ways. And if you don't discipline Coco, he's not going to do what you want him to do. But if you do discipline him, he's going to give you peace of mind and make you happy. Timothy said, he already makes me happy. He's such a good boy. Is he? Said his dad. Yeah. Timothy, was he a good boy when he dug a hole in the yard yesterday morning? No. And you talked to him about it? I did, said Timothy. And what about the hole he dug in the yard in the afternoon? I know, Dad. I'm trying to teach him. You need to consider discipline him. Not only that, it'll help keep him safe if he knows what he is and is not allowed to do. Since Timothy had finished his homework, he headed out in the yard to play with Coco. He threw the frisbee and Coco ran away with it again, and he thought, I don't know if I'm ever going to get him to understand how to play this game. He thought about his new basketball hoop, and so he decided he was going to go play with that for just a little while. He left Coco in the yard. He figured he could see him through the fence while he played, and got out his new basketball. He was shooting hoops and was really doing well, so he didn't notice what Coco was doing. Coco was digging a hole under the fence. Timothy didn't even realize it until all of a sudden Coco was out in the yard with him. Timothy said, Coco, come here. And of course, Coco ran the other way. Come, said Timothy, and Coco ran farther away towards the street. It was just then Timothy looked up and saw there was a car coming around the corner. What was he going to do? He ran towards Coco, but Coco turned and ran right towards the street. We're going to have to wait until next time to find out what happens.